Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guys, gals, non-binary pals, say whatever you will, but it has been a long old wait. But finally, we are back, round 7 of the 2025 GPVWC Superlights season. And boy, oh boy, are we excited for this one. After heading around the Indianapolis road course about a month ago now after the summer break, we're heading north of the virtual border to the circuit Gilles Villeneuve for what is sure to be a very exciting race. You join myself, Ross McIntyre, Fabian Jungbluth, as always, on the cameras, and alongside me in the commentary box, it is Super League race winner Carlos Martin. Carlos, we are just getting underway with our qualifying sessions here today, and it's looking like it's going to be yet again another fantastic evening of racing.
Yes, it's looking very promising today. It's super nice to be back after a 4-week break. And yeah, Canada always brings a lot of exciting moments, a lot of chaos as well. So can't really wait to actually see it coming.
Absolutely. Should be fascinating to see how it is all going to unfold tonight. In fact, I think we might actually still be just about at the end of the practice session. Don't think we're quite in qualifying yet. Ruben Machete currently sits on top of the timing sheets in this session, a 1:10.974. He's the only driver who's been into the 1:10 so far this evening in the open public servers. Second place, though, Oscar Soltero, as you can see there, the Spaniard, making his GPVWC debut a week ago in Formula Sprint 2. Also did the Formula Sprint 1 round here on Thursday last week with MS Performance. Got a second place in the reverse grid race number 2 with a fourth place in race number 1 as well. And he's looking quick straight away in the SL2 car. So another new name to keep our eyes on in what has been a chaotic season in terms of new drivers coming in and things all changing and things all moving about. But we are now at the end of our practice session, getting ready to head into qualifying, of course, a private qualifying, as always, in GPVWC. No rain expected tonight, and I'll just quickly rattle off the tyre choices that we have available. It is the softest compounds that we've brought with us to Canada tonight. The C5s as the softs, the C4s as the mediums, and the C3s as the hard. That is the softest we can go. Expecting a 2-stopper, Carlos Martin. Go soft, medium, hard, or soft, medium, medium. Maybe someone starts on the medium if they feel brave?
Well, you need to be out of the top 15. I don't think anyone who is in the top 15 would be like down to start to do the qualifying on the medium. Here compared to Formula 1, there is quite a time loss, and you could lose about 3.5 or 4 tenths, so that could push you many positions down. So I think the ideal qualifying tire is the soft. Let's just put an example. If Soltero actually qualified on the medium, he would be instead of P2 that is right now, it would be around P11. So yeah, I think everyone in the top 15 will just start with the soft compound, and then in the race, anyone who is besides the top 15, maybe they all choose the medium to start the race with.
But we'll have to wait and see how it's all going to unfold with things like strategy, things like tyre choices, and we're about to see how it's going to unfold in our qualifying session as well. Practice done and dusted. You can see the checkered flags are out. Race winner last time out, Lucas Murno, being given the full-time seat at Fusion Racing, and well, bringing their first win since 2019 around Indianapolis as well. He ended the practice session in P6. Let's see if he can carry on pushing around and keeping on pushing forward as well. His teammate Maxime Bueller at their home race, only able to manage 20th, unfortunately, in practice. Could have been doing race runs, though. Red light is still on in pit lane. The qualifying session is 50 minutes long, so when that timer ticks down to 15:00, it'll be green light and we'll get ready to go. There is hometown hero Maxime Bueller looking to try and bring home a fantastic finish today. But of course, we are now underway in qualifying. Got to get those hot laps done first, all on your own. It is all about what you can do and what you can get out of the car. No such thing as slipstream, no such thing as someone holding you up in a private qualifying session. In our Factor 2, it is just purely about your talent and your ability. Carlos, circuit Gilles Villeneuve, why don't you just talk us through a little bit what it takes to go around this place? It's quite an old school circuit, been around since the 60s actually in its original version, and it's one of those weird sort of a street circuit, sort of not a street circuit kind of tracks. What's it like going around this place?
Well, going around this place, you need to be very good on the throttle. This is a track that there is a lot of straights, there is a lot of slow corners, and you need to, in order to gain speed, you need to be able to push the power down quite easily. But this comes with trade-offs, right? If you push the power down too hard, then you will have rear tire issues, which is very common in this track, or you will either just have a car that it's too understeer, and then you will not be able to do the corners, as we see Maxime Bullion attacking the curbs, which is another trend for this track, to attack the curbs, right? We will see, I think, two philosophies here. We will see cars that are attacking the curbs and cars that are not attacking at all the curbs. This will be interesting to see. Of course, in order to attack the curbs, you need to lift the car and to soften the suspension, and to just not ride them at all, to just go as low as you can and with a stiff suspension. Here we see that Maxime is taking some of them, not all of them, but with an interesting approach of attacking them. And shall we see? Also, aerodynamic load is medium low. I would say, we see Maxime suffering there, a bit of entry oversteer into turn 7. And yeah, so it's a medium low, although different teams have different approaches. Some teams prioritize a lot the lower wings and to have a straight line speed, and other ones, they might, you know, it's where it's a track that you need traction, you add aerodynamics to the car, and it's not 100% clear you will not have rain today. I think is interesting to have a bit of more downforce than usual.
Well, early banker laps are coming in then. Machete setting the quickest time early doors, but the driver's going to be crossing the line very, very quickly. So we might be seeing a lot of change. Right now, though, Ruven Machete, 111.470. Jan Dragoon, 4 thousandths away from that. The Czech driver straight away on it. Brody Lawless slots into 12th place in the KV86 powerhouse car. And here is Tom van der Voort coming to the line now for Drake Racing. What's he going to do as he crosses the line? Only goes 22nd at the moment. Only 26 cars in the server as well at the moment. Hopefully we'll be getting a bit more and be looking to get our full-on 30 driver field heading into this evening. Looking like there's only, yeah, one car out of a couple of the teams. Looks like there might... Oh, hello, Michelle Galka. That is a big, big bite out of the curb. Big impact into the wall. Luckily, still got all 4 wheels on the wagon and able just to shimmy it back around and go back to the pit lane. If you're going to have an accident, Michelle Galk, you've done it in the perfect place. We'll repair the car and get back out again. That just goes to show, though. I mean, we always talk, Carlos, about the Wall of Champions as Luke Mitchell gets very squirrely into the second, or the chicane coming up towards the hairpin, should I say. You know, we always talk about the Wall of Champions. It is so easy to make a mistake and find yourself out of the race here. It's not like it's somewhere like Monaco or Baku where, you know, there's just no runoff at all. But if you do make a mistake and run wide, this circuit will punish you.
Yeah, definitely. There is not much margin for this track for mistakes, especially I would say there are also some curves that are not amazing either. So yeah, you do a mistake, and unless it's the hairpin or turn 7 and 8, there is not much you can do. You just need to accept your fate and close your eyes, and yeah, that's what is going to happen. Although you also can do the approach that you take it a bit safer every time, so in case something happens, right, and then you can actually do something, but then you will lose space, of course.
Of course. Lucas Murno currently with the fastest lap in out of the early bankers, a 111.358 for the Brazilian and race winner last time out. So let's see what he can do. Can he make it 2 wins in a row for Fusion Racing going out of the pole? Michelle Galka, he's going to go around again. Let's see if he gets it right into the final chicane this time on the soft compounder tyres. Yes, he does. The Gallery 82. A little bit cleaner through there on this occasion as they push on down and push on through to start their lap. And we'll head down through turn 1. Very easy to get it wrong, of course. No gravel trap there anymore, and there's a whole big load of runoff. They took away a load of trees there, you know, to stop people having accidents and all that. So that is a bit more forgiving down into turn 1. maybe compared to the rest of the circuit, there is a slight kiss of the wall there coming through. That was the chicanes at turns 3 and 4. Now he's going through the second chicane section, that's 6 and 7, onto this kind of not quite a short shoot. It's not really the back straight either. Of course, you've got that huge long straight coming out of the hairpin. Then the final, or the final chicane before the hairpin, should I say, turns 8, turns 9. Again, this circuit is basically a glorified oval with some chicanes stuck in it. But it is a lot of fun, it must be said. Galka currently looks like he's going to be settling around about 15th, 16th if he can keep this pace up. Ruven Machete, though, looking to move back to pole position. 800ths up in sector number 1. 75 thousandths up in sector number 2. So Machete pushing hard, don't make the mistake, into the final chicane. A little bit wide on the first right-hander there. Won't have cost him too much time as he runs the line. 111.358 to beat, and he goes 111.313. That is provisional pole for Ruven Machete. Once again, Carlos, top 3 drivers at the moment, all covered by less than a tenth of a second. It is close out there.
Yeah, but the laps are not too fast right now, so I'm expecting a lot of drivers to join these people, and maybe Joseph with a good sector 3 can do. And there he goes, P1 for Joseph Herlock with a 111.258. Yeah, it's very curious because Machete looked like he completely missed the chicane, and he actually Herlock won a 10th on Ruven. So there it is, the improvement for the German driver who's leading the championship right now. So we see Norbert Jakob just approaching sector 3. We have seen the trend so far right now is to not take the anti-cuts in the last chicane, and we saw some other drivers suffering touching the chicane in turn 7 and 8 with such a very low cars. We see Norbert Jakob also doing this approach of not touching the anti-cuts in the last corner, and we'll close the lap probably for P4, P5, P5 for Norbert Jakob, 111.42. So yeah, True North looking competitive. They're using new engines for this round, which is important. And Optiminal is locking 1-2, which is has been the trend alongside Murnau this past Grand Prix, even with not a new engine. So that is very impressive.
Absolutely. I'm not a superstitious man myself, but Joseph Herlock, maybe Lady Luck on his side a little bit. The last time Superlights, or the last 4 times Superlights has come to the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, should I say, it has been won. The race has been won by an Englishman. Jack Mayer last year, Owen McGorgy 2023, John Newhouse 2022, Matthew Williams 2021. Joseph Herlock hasn't had a race win quite yet this year. A couple of podiums along the way and some solid results. Currently 5th place in the championship. Can he truly kickstart his 2025 campaign by taking victory here, keeping that streak going, and taking his first victory in GPVWC ever to boot as well? Time will tell. Moritz Kropp was ever so slightly up in Sector 1 for Lunark with a purple, but Sector 2, there must have been a mistake somewhere, half a second down on the quickest time, and indeed he does abandon the lap. So yep, definitely a mistake in there for Kropp. Here we go then. Soltero right on the limit as he comes to the line, drives the shortest route. Purple, and it's green, and only 4th. There was a little bit too aggressive, I think, into the final chicane from Oscar Soltero. The Spaniard maybe kissed the wall of champions ever so slightly, and he's had to settle for 4th place at the moment, but once again so close. We're talking millimeters of difference out there on the racetrack as Robin Merlin goes to 16th place. 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in this qualifying session, and it is really, really close. And a few other drivers start to join the serve. We've got to 27 now. Welcome along to the party, Scott Mitchell-Marm in the Kings Racing car. And of course, a few new drivers standing in as well. The Brem GP duo of Stefano and Soltero, both new to Superlights this evening. On board with Philip Pushka. What can the German do as he runs down the back straight in the Drake Racing machine? Again, foot to the floor at this point, just praying that you've got power and downforce or the drag on your side, and actually abandons that lap. So he will be going boxing, maybe has time for 2 more.
There he goes. I think Machete is going to be P1 for this one. So as he closes the lap, just going a straight line, and the time is P1, 111.202. Just securing once again the Optiminal 1-2. Although this lap time is not as fast as what he was doing in practice. He was a bit more than 2/10 faster than this in the practice session. So maybe this is not over yet.
Yeah, it could be very close. I mean, again, though, Carlos, you said that we weren't quite running quickly enough earlier. I mean, at the end of practice, Machete was running in the 110s. So there is definitely still time to make it. Jose Soriano, he'll be looking to try and push on a bit further forward from P11. Both of the NetRex guys, after a strong start to the season, seemingly maybe the car's just not quite getting the R&D train rolling that they would have wanted to. Is Soriano going to abandon this lap? I presume he will. Yes, he will. That might have been an in-lap, in fact, and indeed it will have been. Yet pulls over, fresh set of rubber for Soriano, and probably one more attempt. Rigoza, he's gone green, currently 24th in the Gallery 82. If he can keep that clean, he'll be jumping right up the order. Two very strong sectors. He could be sliding into about 14th place, maybe knocking Brody Lawless off of his perch with a very strong sector number 3. So let's follow the Gallery 82 all the way in to the final corner. Almost getting over the sausage curves there. That was inch perfect. Comes to the line. It is going to be P19. Maybe could have been a little bit better through the final sector, but it is an improvement. It's coming down to the final laps, Carlos. Do you think anyone can stop the Optiminals right now? They just look like they're on another level.
And no, I actually think many drivers have options. As we see, look at Mitchell closing a lap for P19. His last sector was not the greatest, but I could foresee a lot of people fighting them. We seen Soltero even doing an 11-1 in practice. Also Murno can actually maybe do a push for it, and the True North obviously. So I think those are the people who can contest Optiminal for tonight's pole position.
Have to wait and see. 2 minutes, 30 seconds left to go. Federico Russo, that's green in sector 1 for the Alpha Delta driver. Let's see if he can keep that pace up across the rest of the lap. As the grey skies now coming in here in Canada. Again, there is a small chance of rain, but we're not expecting it to hit the circuit, but you never know. In the north, do you? With a 25-degree ambient temperature, 44-degree track temperature at the moment. So not the coldest conditions they've ever been in. Getting a little bit warm out there. Russo will have an opportunity to push on for one more if he so chooses. Maybe do a cool-down lap, then another push. Won't have time to go back to the pit stop, but he does go to P8. That's a great lap. And Soltero is onto the pole position now as well, a 111.173, and possibly pushing again here, Carlos. So Soltero could be in here.
Yeah, he could be definitely for the fight. Well, not his sector 1. His sector 1 is not great. So I think that is session over for Oscar. As we see also, Ruben Machete probably disconnected from the session and will have the opportunity to join back, but not the opportunity. Well, he just reconnected. I'm not sure if he will have the chance to be in time to pull a lap. As we see a lot of drivers doing the preparation laps, as we saw Scott Mitchell Mount just finishing the lap. Currently in P27, this lap will push him into position 25th position. So that's a slight improvement for the Kings Racing driver. So yeah, right now Machete is still in the pit, so Machete will not have pole for this round. So it will be any other driver, as we see Harry Smith being quite strong here with a strong sector 2, not so strong sector 1, but still looking for improving. We have seen that the Optiminal are very strong in sector 3, as we see now, Harry Smith attacking a lot there, the last anti-cut of the chicane, and going for a P10. So that 2/10 loss maybe is related to this chicane approach that they are doing. As we see Lucas Murno, the Brazilian driver, approaching the chicane, attacking the first curb a lot. Not sure if that was luck, because he's from Brazil, because he looked very steady. Yeah, and that is a P3 with a purple sector 3, 1.5 improvement over Soltero. So this Brem GP car is not great in the chicane, let's say. As we see Joseph Horlock trying to close up the lap for Optiminal, and it goes P4, improved sector 3 compared to Soltero, but not enough to actually take fall from the Spanish driver.
And your cab's now on a lap as well. He's gone purple in Sector 2. What is going on here at the circuit, Gilles Villeneuve? One chicane to go. Will it be hometown pole for True North Motorsport? Norbert, your cab to the line. Oh, only P5. A little bit down in the final sector. What on earth was going on there, though, in that qualifying session? Murno is still on a lap, apparently, as well. Did he get to the line before the checkered flag? He did, so he's pushing twice. So Murno going for double lap, and it is green, so even quicker despite the tyre wear that the Brazilian will be dealing with. Let's see how good the Fusion is through the final chicane, bouncing over the curbs and into the wall of champions. Murno will have to settle for P3 and will not improve. Regardless, though, the top 4 separated by 85 thousandths of a second. That is as close as you like here at the circuit. Gilles Villeneuve, Soltero in his maiden Superlight start takes pole position. What a lap, what a performance already from the Spaniard. Machete second, Murno third, and Herlock fourth. Man, oh man, your cab could have been up there as well if he was strong in the final sector. Pushka's not far away. Carlos, I think we've got a very, very tasty race lining up, because look at how close they are. And we know that Superlights is always so exciting. This could be a night to remember.
Yeah, this one is going to be very interesting. And it shocked me the difference that there are between the cars in sector 1 and 2 and sector 3, especially between the Brem GP and the Optiminal. So pole position for debut in Superlights, and he made debut in GPV last week. Oscar Soltero, Ruben Mechede P2, Lucas Murno P3, Joseph Herlock P4, Norbert Jakob P5, Filip Puška P6, Giuseppe Saracino P7, Mirko Lucchini P8, Jan Dragun P9, and P10 Harry Smith. Moritz Kropp P11, Federico Russo P12, Jose Soriano P13, Mike Quinn P14, Matias Canapino P15, Brody Lawless P16. Well, we have a double P16 here. I guess P17, David Krupa, P18, Remy Merlin, P19, Alexander Oza, P20, Luke Mitchell. P21, Michael Falkenhayn, P22, Maxime Bilio, P23, Tom van der Voort, P24, Daniel Scott, P25, Wesley Stefano, P26, Scott Mitchellman, P27, Michal Galka, P28, Jan Sikora, and closing the grid, Victor Borley, P29.
So yeah, looks like we are missing someone, unfortunately. That is a shame, but we'll have to push on regardless. That is qualifying done and dusted, and man, oh man, what a qualifying session it was. And we've got 58 laps of racing to look forward to after 10 minutes of the warm-up session as well. Oh man, I've missed this. Good to be back, isn't it? If you're just joining us, well, the top 4 separated in qualifying by less than 1/10 of a second. It was as close as you want out there on the track, and it's looking to get even more exciting during the race. Round 7 of 16 in the 2025 GPVWC Superlight season. Myself, Ross McIntyre, and Carlos Martin alongside me, bringing you all of the action. Fabian Jungbluth, of course, on the cameras. Now then, as we are into the warm-up session, it's time to go through the grid once again, talk about some of our teams. And given we're in Canada, who else to talk about than hometown heroes, True North Motorsport?
Donald Trump.
Did Donald Trump? What?
I don't know, yeah, I mean, Donald Trump wanted to annex, Canada to the US,
yeah,
so
true.
maybe that's what we need to talk about. No, I'm just kidding, of course. It's a moment to give some credit to True North Motorsport, and you can start Ross.
Yeah, may as well.
Your favorite driver is there?
How is my favourite driver? I wouldn't say he's my favourite driver. Yeah, I mean, I think that Jan Dragun is a very, very good driver. That doesn't mean he's my favourite.
You have a tattoo of Jan Dragun.
Yeah, sure. All right, that's a secret. That was a secret between me and you, Carlos.
Yeah, I cannot speak where it is, but it's
yeah, no, only certain people get to see where that tattoo is, shall we say? Yeah. Anyway, True North Motorsport. What can we say? I mean, obviously they've been around They've been around as a little while in GPVWC, first entering back in 2019 under the name TCF Off Racing. It was only last year actually that they entered the True North guys. Carter McColeman, the team boss, decided, you know what, he was fed up of, you know, not having any, you know, proper Canadian muscle out on there in the GPV world. So, you know, rebranded it with a bit more of a patriotic twist. And, well, they've been, you know, kind of lighting it up ever since. And, well, this year, I know, Carlos, as you said, you think that Jan Dragoon is just my favourite person in the whole world, but they do have a very strong driver lineup with Jakab and Dragoon, and they have put in some fantastic performances so far this season. Of course, last year as well, took a couple of race wins with David Fidok behind the wheel. So, you know, since the rebrand, they have had, you know, a lot of success, and they're looking like a team that's just going to keep continuing to improve.
Yeah, they're keeping to improve, and we highlighted this in the podcast that they were the favorites, at least according to the ones who were gathered that day to take the constructors title for this year. They are doing a great job. They haven't won yet a race this year. I think they have the material to actually contest for race wins. They have the drivers, they have the structure, they have the car, the RD points. I think it's just a matter of time that they will start performing slightly better. Also, being a team that participated last year compared to, for example, their current rivals in the standings, which are Netrex and Optiminal, they will have a bit more RD points. So maybe they can bring one more package, which is ever so slightly not much, maybe 50 or 60,000 worth. But as we see the qualifyings, how close they are, yeah, it's an important upgrade that maybe they can enjoy. About the drivers, Norbert Jakab is doing a really great season. As a debut in GPVWC, he's doing great so far. And Jan Dragoon, I mean, you can say we expected more because we expected him to win, maybe. He was one of my favorites alongside Ruven to take the Drivers' Championship. Right now, he's not there, but Championship is still super long, 10 races to go. So he has the opportunity, regardless of what the result is today, to still fight for it. Yeah, it's very interesting. And today they will definitely, like every race, they are fighting for these podium positions. There are two drivers consistently up there. So let's see what happens today.
Oh, it should be very, very exciting. Carlos did mention the podcast the other day. If you haven't checked that out, the second episode of the GPVWC 2025 podcast that was released about a week ago. You can go and join Carlos alongside Caitlin Penny and Toby Davis discussing everything Super League and Superlights. And of course, you know, it's just very interesting to go and listen. So go and give them a listen. 4 minutes and 45 left in this warm-up, and yeah, we'll have to wait to see how it's all going to unfold. Unfortunately, I don't think True North have new engines in this evening, unfortunately.
They do.
They do? Apparently they do.
Jan Dragoon does. Who doesn't is Norbert Jakab. Drivers who are using new engines are Drake Racing, PCCW, Alpha Delta, and car number 11 of KV86, and Oscar Soltero in Brem GP is using also a new one. Also, there is one car of Rookie Monster, so it's like a mix of engines. Who are using very old engines is the opposite, the number 70 of KV86 and the two Alpha Sierras. So maybe Alpha Sierra is just saying, okay, maybe we just do the counter meta of whatever people is doing, and we open chances ourselves whenever the other teams are using older engines, like might be the case at Hungaroring or might be the case at the Nürburgring in the upcoming races in the calendar. As a reminder, GPVWC is a league that you can choose your engines. The engines get wear and they lose performance. So managing those things are key for the results. And there is also, as we were mentioning before, there is this upgrade system, which per today, the most developed car, it they're almost fairly close, all of them. There are just a few that are falling behind. They are leading the pack, I would say. Lunar, KV86, Fusion is also there, True North is also there. And then they're a bit starting to fall back, ironically. Drake Racing is starting to fall back. PCCW is starting to fall back. Or even Optiminal, it's starting to fall back. And this is why I opened the question before. If True North is being able to keep developing, whereas maybe Optiminal is starting to fall back in development, can we see a change in trend for the championship?
We will have to wait and see, how it's all going to unfold. 2 minutes left then in this warm-up session. Still only 29 cars on the grid, unfortunately. Not quite sure who's not quite been able to join us just yet. Hopefully they will be able to, but I think there's been a lot of chaos with drivers tonight anyway. I was just scrolling through the entry list for this evening, and a fair few names on there that are not out on the circuit. Just for example, Augustin Canapino. The Argentine was supposed to be joining us once again, but instead in his place we've got Giuseppe Saracino, the Italian, jumping in from his FS1 ride, but doing a good job so far as Saracino. But yeah, unfortunately looks like we've just got a few people here, there and everywhere. Some people in, some people not, so we'll just have to wait and see. But coming to the end of the warm-up session then, hopefully everyone is ready to go racing. Hopefully everyone's made sure that their setups are good. Strategy discussions, of course, being done, making sure that you're happy with the weather, what you're doing, happy with your rig, make sure that your wheelbase is still working, make sure that the setup works, you know, all of the above. And it'll be time to go racing, time to start focusing in very, very shortly. Carlos Martin, it might be a tough one to ask because there's two cars coming together there in the final corner. Of course, that is fine. It's the warm-up. It doesn't really matter that much if you crash into people. Yeah, it might be a bit of a tough ask, Carlos, just because of how close it was, especially up the front in qualifying. Is there anyone you've got your eye on already? You're going, yeah, I think you're probably going to be the one to beat in this race.
I think... I mean, Mercedes has the whole package, right, to actually take this. But, and I will normally take him over anyone starting from P2, P3, starting for P2 in this case. Or you could even have Lucas Murno as well. But I think I'm going to follow the plot armor that we have seen in the past races with Oscar Soltero. He's been a shock to the league. And maybe I want to follow this Cinderella story of Oscar Soltero, so it's not like a completely objective prediction. If it was an objective prediction, you could say either Ruben, Lucas, or even Joseph, because two Optiminals there sandwiching Soltero with strategy could be very interesting. But I'm going to keep with the Cinderella story of Oscar Soltero taking pole in his Superlights debut, making GPVWC debut last week, and I'm just gonna say Oscar Soltero is going to win the Canadian Grand Prix.
Well, we've had a fair few Cinderella stories so far this season, to be fair. I mean, Superlights, it always throws a curveball, it always throws a surprise every single year, but this year, you show up every race and you quite frankly, you never know who's going to be quick, you never know who's going to be winning, you never know if someone new's going to turn up and win, you know, as we've seen with Mono, as we're potentially seeing with Soltero. It has just been such a chaotic, in a good way, season. You know, it's not been chaos as in, you know, it's just, you know, do or die out on the racetrack. Yes, there have been a few races of attrition, of course, as you'd expect in sim racing, but it is just the storylines and what's unfolding before our eyes. It is quite hard to believe what is happening sometimes. It could be interesting to see if Soltero is going to add yet another twist into the 2025 season. Checkered flag is out then. In the warm-up session, we are moments away from going racing. Let us know from where in the world you are watching. Let us know who you think's going to be on top. Let us know who's supporting all of the above. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and all of that help get GPVWC out there. And if this is your first time watching and you fancy getting involved, head down to the links in the description, join the Discord, or head over to the GPVWC website at gpvwc.com. to find out how it all works and how we like to do things and how you can maybe come and compete alongside Carlos Martin, perhaps in Super League in a little while, against the best of the best in R Factor 2 sim racing. as we get ready for the drivers to awkwardly glitch their way out onto the grid before the formation lap. And then 58 laps of racing awaits us this evening. What is the story that we are going to find? It looks like we've still only got 29 cars, unfortunately. I think it's Chris Gitsov in one of the Alpha Sierras who we're missing. That's a real shame if he's not going to be able to start this race. And as I said earlier, a few drivers, a lot of people standing in, a lot of people in the entry list, the likes of Augustin Canapino, Mika Hakimi, I know was on the entry list for this evening as well. For whatever reason, they've not been able to join us, and we've got some last-minute replacements. And of course, the man who's currently upsetting the whole apple cart, Oscar Soltero, the Spaniard, making his GPVWC debut just a week ago in FS2 here, also did the FS1 here. Now he's looking like he could be in the contention for the win in Superlights this evening here in Canada. What a story that would be. But it was Lucas Murno that was quickest at the end of the warm-up, a 1:14.029. And we know, Carlos, it is one thing to be quick in qualifying. It's another thing to be quick in the race. Another thing I think we just have to quickly remember as well before we get going on our formation lap, we've got both the Optiminals up the front on this grid, so they can try and work together, Carlos. Maybe something that Soltero or Murno can't quite do because their teammates are a bit further back.
Yeah, well, that's what I was mentioning before. I really think that goes in the higher end. This is going to be a very interesting race because you can do many approaches to this. You can do an approach of, being more, being safer and being more careful with the tires. You can do a more aggressive style and trying to pull away since the early stages. It's going to be very interesting. I think, even though I think it's a clear two-stop for today, unless you are starting maybe P16 and you start on the medium and maybe you consider going medium hard, I really think there are many approaches, as we saw in F1, that people pitting early or pitting very late. So let's see what happens.
Should be really interesting to see as we get going on our formation lap. The grid, all of the names you'd expect to see up the top, apart from, your Soltero and your Saracino, who's standing in tonight. But Saracino himself, not a bad peddler at all. A few drivers will be disappointed after qualifying. A few of them will be delighted. Let's run through the grid for one final time before we go racing here this evening. It is Oscar Soltero on his Superlights debut from pole with Ruben Machete alongside Lucas Murno in third. Joseph Herlock just behind the sister Optiminal. He starts in P4. P5, meanwhile, is Norbert Jakab with Philip Pushka in P6. Giuseppe Saracino leads the TTF Racing charge. Mirko Lucchini, he's alongside in P8. Moving further down, rounding out the top 10, it is Jan Dragoon and Harry Smith for the Netrex GP team. Moritz Kropp starts 11th with Federico Russo rounding out the 6th row of the grid. 13th place, we have Jose Soriano, a bit of a disappointing qualifying for the Spaniard there, with Mike Quint in P14. Matthias Canapino starts 15th. Brody Lawless leads the KV86 powerhouse charge. Row 9 on the grid, it's David Krupa and Robin Merling, with Alexander Ragotza in P19. Luke Mitchell, he rounds out the top 20 in the King's Racing Machine. P21, it's Michael Falkenhayn for KV86. Maxime Bulio will be disappointed at their home race with 22nd. Tom van der Voort starts 23rd, and it was one of the rookie monsters in 24th. Wesley Stefano is 25th, with Scott Mitchell on 26th, Michelle Galka 27th, Jan Sikora in 28th, and I believe we have one more car on the grid, and indeed we do. It is Victor Borley for Alpha Sierra Sim Racing. Unfortunately, not a full house of 30 tonight, but as close as we're gonna get. And Borley will be starting alone on the back of the grid. Carlos, any last-minute predictions before we get into this one?
Yeah, well, let's see. I hope everyone stays alive for lap 1. That I hope it's not a prediction. It's a wish. This track tends to be very chaotic, and let's see how it goes.
That's where to see Borley with Koroshavin's helmet on. You can tell that's how last minute him jumping in the car tonight was. Slides into the final position. Soltero, his first Superlights race, starting from pole. The Spaniard, can he keep his composure and his cool as the red lights come on? It is lights out and we are underway. Great launch there from the pole sitter Machete. Also not away badly either. Murno, I think, a disappointing start as they're already banging wheels on the run down into turn 2. Machete off track slightly as Soltero muscled his way through. Murno back up into third place and fighting hard with the other optimal of Joseph Herlock, who's just dropped back down again as we're all clean through the opening few corners. Bit of dust getting kicked up everywhere as they're all squabbling for places. Was that one of the True North cars going slowly in the background? Victor Borley goes round in the Alpha Sierra car as well, and yep, Jan Dragoon right down the order. Disaster for the Czech driver. He's down in 28th. Jose Soriano still stuck in 13th place as they come to the end of Sector 1 though, and that's a huge crash. That is huge, massive into the wall. That's Krupa and Lawless. Lawless up on his side, rights himself, but he'll be out of the race. That is absolutely massive heading into the braking zone at the end of Sector 2. I'm amazed, Carlos Martin, there wasn't more cars involved in that, as there's still chaos elsewhere. Lawless is out of the race, unbelievable.
I think they touch as well with Soriano, but I'm not sure. It was very chaotic, but for now let's focus on the lap 1. There is a lot of action across the whole grid, as we see Soltero still leading, but Machete very close to the Spanish driver. He really wanted to make a statement into turn 1. We saw that he really wanted to take this position already. Maybe Machete feels like he wants to lead this race already since minute 1, because maybe he has an advantage and can just pull it together. But we see Harry Smith has won a lot of positions already. Has won 3 positions so far. So there was a lot of a mix of a lot of things happening. And yeah, well, now Machete is losing ground and Murno fairly close, but I guess it's just this accordion effect, Constantina effect that is happening. And yeah, it's going to be interesting how all these drivers actually end up fighting it. And yeah, it's great racing so far.
Yeah, very tense early doors. We've lost 2 drivers in Lawless, and I believe it was Daniel Scott who's also dropped out as well, as a few of them got caught up in the lap 1 chaos and diving into the pits. Sakura, Dragoon, Borley, all of them dropping down the order. It must be said though, Machete dropping off a little bit. It's still early doors, coming to the end of lap 2 now. Got DRS now and all of that stuff. Murno's still there, Herlock in as well. You know, there's still very much a train here. A Soltero fastest lap of the race, a 1:15.061, but it's still very tight between the leaders. I will just say though, as Moritz Kropp, that was a big lunge on Harry Smith into turn 1. Didn't come into fruition on that occasion. Machete might be playing this one safe already. I know it's so early into this race, and I know he's second, but Jose Soriano is right down the order in 13th place. He's his closest championship competitor. Of course, Machete currently leading the way in the championship with 24 points to the good. Dragoon is all but out of this race after the chaos on lap number 1. He's down in 26th and could essentially be a lap down. Your Cap's only about P5, but he's a long way off. He's about 38 points off of Machete. So the German maybe just thinking about playing it safe already as we start going into round number 7, get to the middle third of the season, and just start thinking about, let's just take some solid points for the championship here. We'll have to wait and see. Let's go on board with race winner last time out, Lucas Murno. Can the Brazilian try anything magical down into the final chicane? A little bit too far back on that occasion. Oh, really clatters the curb. You can see there, Carlos, lots of different lines through there. Some of the drivers really liking to attack that curb in the final final corner. Some of them preferring to stay a little bit more off it. Is there an advantage to that, or is it more just about, is the car good enough to take it?
Well, it just depends on how the approach of the setup you do. If you raise up the car, then you are able to, as we see a wobbling moment there for Machete, you need to raise the car, and then you will lose time in those corners that you actually don't use the curbs at all. So if you do a setup to actually take the curbs, you need to do it for all the curbs in the track. As we see Murno actually applying a lot of pressure on Machete. I don't know if it's Machete who is struggling, or just Murno has got everything in speed on him right now. But it's very clear to me that the approach Machete is doing and the approach Murno is doing is very different. Although I will say Machete is also fairly close, so maybe he goes for an attack, but he's not closing too much right now on Soltero. But if you feel in the danger of Murno and you see a clear opportunity. As we see, yeah, here it's very clear. Machete doesn't take the curb at all. Soltero takes it, both of them, like full attack. And in qualifying, we saw Machete being faster than Soltero. So, so far, the best approach, maybe, it is the Ruben Machete approach for the chicane. But let's see.
I mean, maybe it's slightly fast for Soltero, but it could bite him. It could be, you know, it kicks him out and into the wall of champions. We'll just have to wait and see if that Brem GP car can handle itself through that section. Lap 5 of 58. Soltero, Machete, Murno, Herlock, your top 4. Not changing positions from their qualifying. There was a bit of swapping here and there, but overall they're running just about where they were, and I think that's actually quite true for most of the top 10. Your Cap's still there or thereabouts, Pushka and P6 as well. So everyone's just kind of there, biding their time at the moment. Very, very tense race unfolding so far. I was a little bit slow out of the hairpin there from Machete. I wonder if Soltero used a bit of push to pass to get that punch out of the hairpin. Machete as well got some wheel spins. That's cost him a bit of time, dropped him back just a little bit. But Murno still not close enough to have a go. Again, Murno, you see him really attacking that right-hander at the final chicane, going all over the curb. Is that the right move? We don't know. For now, though, everyone just kind of sat very happily in their little DRS pocket. No one really close enough to make a move yet. No, maybe no one wants to make a move. Everyone's just quite happy sitting, playing the patient game. It's a game of chess, not checkers here in Superlights. Right now, it's Soltero who has the advantage. Is he on for checkmate as this one goes on? We'll have to wait and see. Murno definitely seems a little bit more aggressive over the curbs, Carlos. Is that a personal decision, or is that car is just able to do it and he just finds it faster?
Yeah, well, it's a combination of both to be able to do that. And we see that there is a huge strain of DRS. We can see a DRS strain up to P9. Ooh, that's very close. Almost sticking the nose there, and probably cannot make the move because Machete has the DRS from the car in front. Although here, if you fall asleep and then you start attacking using P2P, then maybe you can just do an attack. But yeah, definitely we can see that he's attacking more the curbs. But you also want to do a different line than the car in front, so you don't get as much dirty air. And the question here it is, who is preserving the tires good enough right now? Because this pit lane is very short. It's about 17-18 seconds. And if you really want to not land on traffic, it is very difficult. Right now, you will just have if you pitted right now, which would make no sense, you would be on traffic, and this traffic, it's a big train right now. So you don't really want to put yourself into that position. So yeah, this is what is happening right now. Is it Soltero saving the tires, or he doesn't have anything more and he's about to be in danger from the drivers chasing him?
We'll have to wait and see. Soltero definitely looks a little bit stronger than Machete on traction out of the corners, but Machete, yeah, straight through, yeah, DRS, push to pass, slides on by. That was a really easy overtake, and the championship leader now up to the lead of the race. Yeah, that was absolutely just using DRS and push to pass there down the back straight. Does he now check out? Can he now leave? Was he being held up by Soltero? Or was that just an opportune move just to see what he can do? These front two are now starting to pull away from Murno, so I do wonder on lap 8 of 58 if Machete's gone right, had enough of this, he's turned the wick up and he's starting to push. Maybe we'll wait and see. Elsewhere, everyone else still holding stable for the time being. Scott Mitchell-Marm into the pit lane. He's well down the order in 24th at the moment. Hopefully, should I say, everything is okay there for the Kings Racing car. And again, if you just joined us, two DNFs, Brody Lawless and Daniel Scott, after that huge crash on the opening lap. Brody Lawless nearly going up and over. Yellow flags out of Sector 1, and Scott Mitchell was actually DNF'd. So I think he's pulled into the pit lane there and DNF'd in the pits. So that's a real shame for him. If something has happened, hopefully we'll get a replay. But yeah, very, very bizarre that, and a real shame for him. Then there was 26, our third DNF of the evening. you can definitely see, Carlos, that Machete and Soltero have pulled away. I mean, they've now broken the DRS on Murno. So does that cause issues for Lucas Murno? Does he now need to use a bit of push to pass to get back into that DRS train?
Yeah, I felt like Machete was using push to pass to get away from Soltero. Sorry. So I don't really know if he tried to surprise him and say, okay, I have the pace, I'm just gonna head off. But I think Murno is doing the same. Right now he's just using push to pass to catch up, or at least it looks like, by how the splits evolve through the track. And Soltero is able to hang on with the DRS, and maybe it was more of a tactical move that Soltero felt like he was not feeling great in that position, and maybe wanted the DRS from Machete, because we can clearly see right here, right now, he's very close to Machete as well, and even closer than what Machete was to him at some points. So I think the important thing for them is to not fight, although you can see how you can see he lifted completely, and even without using push to pass, he will have had the, oh my days, that was very close. He will have had the chance to actually attack on Machete, and now he just needs to be a bit of aware of Murno. But as Murno does the fastest lap, this fastest lap is just a slingshot, right? You get the DRS from very behind, you get advantage, you use push to pass, so you do fastest lap. It's not that the tires are just getting better right now, it's just this Constantina effect that is happening right now. And everyone, once again, up to P9, they are in a DRS train. So everyone is actually opting for an undercut and changing the order completely. Although I think this steady phase, this count phase will end as soon as we have the first pit stops, as we saw in Japan.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you on that one in terms of pit stops and what's going to happen there. We have lost another driver, Victor Borley, now out of the race as well. So that's 4 DNFs in 10 laps. A real shame for those guys. Hopefully everyone's okay and there wasn't any major issues there. There we go. Yep, Soltero back to the lead of the race, trading positions in a much similar manner to how Machete took the lead a few moments ago. Soltero, DRS, push to pass, slides it up and gets it done before the final chicane. Murno has closed right back up to this battle as well. And Herlock, again, Herlock, Yakab, Pushka, Harry Smith, all not very far away. There's still 7 drivers, realistically, in this leading train, all within DRS of each other, and all that could be fighting for this race win a little bit later on. Have to wait and see how it's going to unfold. Falkenhayn comes into the pits with the sole KV86 powerhouse car left in this race. He's standing in this evening, and not been the greatest showing so far from him, unfortunately, but an early pit stop, maybe he can just shake things up a little bit. Lap 11 of 58 here at the circuit, Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. And it is Soltero making his Superlights debut that leads the way from championship leader Ruben Machete. Lucas Murno, the man that Soltero is trying to steal the thunder of. Race winner last time out, the Brazilian, currently P3. Joseph Herlock just behind in P4 though. Again, I think it is just starting to get to a point, Carlos, really, where it's almost getting to, right, who gambles and comes into the pit lane first? Because I think that's going to have a massive effect, is who comes in when, and do you have clear track to use that fresh rubber? As I say that is Moritz Krop coming in, so not one of our ultimate leaders, but the top 7, they'll be having their engineers keeping a close eye on where Krop comes out and what his lap times are. Because if it's worth coming in, maybe getting an undercut or something along those lines.
Soft again?
Yeah, it might be the soft. We'll wait to see for updates. Sometimes it can be a little bit slow, R-Factor 2, with updating what tyre the drivers are actually on until they're about halfway round. Krop, of course, standing in for David Fidok this evening, and it's just set itself to the mediums on my live timing, so I believe he's on the mediums. We'll wait and see what tyres Krop's on, but comes out in P19. Yeah. Does say softs on the timing tower though, so who knows? Maybe he is on the softs. I don't know. R-Factor 2, it has its moments sometimes, but I'd be very surprised.
It's on hard.
It's the hards. Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Lap 12, I think it's a bit too soon if you want to go for the double medium strategy. We were commenting this before. There is the option to just go for the soft, medium, hard. The issue of pitting so early is that you will find traffic, but okay, it is a lap car. For some reason, I thought Soltero was just completely pulling away. For whatever happened in the midfield right now, there is not really, there is clean air. If you pit now, there is like 5, 6, oh yes, we see Soltero just going wide. Oh no, just pulling a Vettel now. He will be in danger of Ruben Mechede. Maybe Mechede going for a move now, just going into turns 7 and 8. He will be in danger right now. We can see now the struggles of the tires, maybe not lasting as much as Soltero will want to. This is a very difficult stage of the race where maybe the rear tires are just starting to go off. And yeah, the drivers need to be very aware of this and to be ready to not try to do the corner if you know you're not gonna make it. But yeah, it looks like Soltero's tires are not in the greatest shape, although we can see he has great traction out of the hairpin compared to Mechede. Mechede is losing a bit on those moments, although he can just recover it here in the chicane. And Soltero keeps going on. But it's very interesting because right now, whoever pits, they would have clear traffic to just pull their own pace. So yeah, it's fairly interesting. They are racing still faster than the, well, not last lap. Soltero's last lap was a 1:16.9 compared to the 1:15.6 Mechede did. But they are still racing faster than the drivers who are using medium tires, and it will be important to keep an eye on what Moritz is able to pull together in the next laps with the hards. It's not looking great, the pace from Moritz right now.
Yeah, I would have thought it would have been mediums at this phase in the race. Even if he does want to run a longer second stint, I just don't think that the deficit on time is worth it at all. Is Pushka looking for a go on your cab, maybe? He was looking a bit close coming into the hairpin there. Let's see if he gets a solid run out of the hairpin. And Harry Smith, I think, has made a little mistake. He's dropped away big time from this battle. So then there were 6 still in this leading train. Does anyone try and move into the final corners? No, not by the looks of things on this occasion. Maybe Harry Smith elects to come in. Does he? We'll wait and see if he comes around. Yes, he does. So Harry Smith continues to push round and continues to do his thing. Lap 15 of 58, still waiting for one of the leaders to bite and come in for their first pit stop. We are expecting 2 tonight. 3 is possible, but would be a big surprise if that was the case. And again, we're expecting the route to be soft, medium at that as well. So we just need to wait and see, basically, when one of the leaders pulls the pin, when the team decide that now's the time to come in and now's the time to push onwards and see if an undercut is worth it. Philip Pushka sitting very pretty at the back of this chain at the moment. Doesn't seem to be like he's pushing too hard. Doesn't seem like he's trying to push ahead of Norbert Jakab at the moment. He's got 2 podiums to his name so far this season, Pushka. Both second places in the opening 2 rounds as well, of course. A previous Super League champion back in 2015.
Mechede's very close.
Yeah, Mechede is very close. Mechede's going to go around the outside. I think this is going to be a lot of this race here, Carlos. It's just going to be trading places down the back straight. Ruben Mechede back to the lead of the race. Does anyone come into the pits this time? Doesn't look like it. And no, they do not. So Mechede now retakes the lead. Feels a bit like a Formula Ford race this somehow, where everyone's just kind of tailing each other and occasionally the leaders swap places to maybe save fuel or something like that. Championship leader back to the lead of the race then. Again, still waiting for someone to bite the bullet for the pit stop. Harry Smith has come in and someone's out as well. Yeah, Wesley Stefano's out. Harry Smith comes in for a set of the mediums. Lucchini in as well. He was behind Smith. So they were not quite in the lead battle. Lucchini, apparently the softs will wait and see if that updates. So I don't think we're far away from seeing the top 6 as Smith gets a penalty. Oh, Harry, did you speed in the pit lane, you silly boy? Oh, that's a real shame. Penalty then for Harry Smith. As a yellow flag out in Sector 2 as well. Hopefully everyone's okay. But yeah, leaders, we're waiting to see what they're going to do. I think Russo's dropping big time. As Russo had an incident, yeah, no front wing for Federico Russo. He's met the barrier, able to continue. Oh, man, that's a real shame for him as well. He was having a great race in the Alpha Delta car, and now he's going to have to limp back to the pit lane a long way to go as well. We'll need to get out of the way of those behind him. That's Mitchell, Kropp and Harry Smith coming through. And, oh, is that Murno coming? Yeah, Lucas Murno's in. Murno, our first of our leaders to come in then. Let's see what the Fusion Racing driver goes on to, Carlos.
Yeah, he will go on the medium. There's no chance he goes any other tire. And he will have quite of a clean track. Yeah, as we see, it just loaded. We see a lot of people just reacting. I think Murno is reacting to Harry because you can win a lot of time with an undercut here. So it will be interesting to see. Well, maybe he was not aware of the penalty that Harry might have had, but yeah, I think now the window is completely open to just go into the medium right now. There is free air almost. It's like he will not find much traffic, and the traffic he will find is pretty spread up, so he will not lose time with the traffic. So I think it's the right moment to pit, as we see also Soltero starting to struggle, and there is a gap between Mechede and Soltero already of 1 second. Probably Mechede is pushing hard to just keep a gap, and Mechede keeps going on, ignores Murno, and also Soltero, as we see, he's lacking a bit of traction. Norbert Jakob is starting to fall back, as we see Joseph Horlock now pitting, and this is the kind of strategy I was expecting from Optiminal. You just throw in Joseph Horlock now, he can just undercut Soltero, and then you can put both Optiminals together, because then it will be much more difficult for Soltero to actually attack Mechede if the two Optiminals are together.
Yeah, this is a race that could be playing very nicely
Look at the
into
gap between Murno and Herlock.
Wow,
Look at the gap.
yeah,
It's insane.
That is big. I was saying this is a race that could be playing potentially into Optimal's hands, but yeah, the undercut just so powerful. Murno with a huge jump. I wonder maybe if Soltero is just, I mean, he's clearly starting to struggle with the rubber a little bit. I wonder if that's just down to the experience. Of course, this is his first ever Superlights race. He's only done 2 rounds of GPV total before this, and it was the FS2 and the FS1 here in Canada last week, so he won't quite have the understanding of the tyres and how they work that the likes of Mechede, Jakob, Pushka, they all do, Murno as well. So I would expect to see him coming in probably a little bit earlier as Pushka goes round Jakob. Oh, we were waiting for that to happen. Oh, yeah, Norbert Jakob.
Soltero is in the pits.
Yeah, Soltero comes in as well, so a few more of the leaders coming in. Yeah, we were waiting for that to happen. It always happens at some point in Canada. You nearly get a crash of someone going into the pit lane. There really needs to be some sort of an indicator to say, like, I'm coming into the pits, doesn't there? Let's be honest here. Mediums for Jakob. Looked like it was the mediums for Soltero as well. Mechede continues to push round. He's got 4 seconds now to the good. Soriano, who started on the hard tyre, I believe, actually, or did he just box very early? Either way, he's up to 3rd place, and he'll be taking the lead of the race when Mechede and Pushka come in. But yeah, Mechede should just about hold on to the lead if he comes in soon. Murno could be a threat, though, to undercut him. He's only 19 seconds away. Does have a bit of traffic in front of him as well. So wait to see what Mechede does this lap. I mean, he looks pretty comfortable, pretty happy continuing to run, Carlos. So I wonder if he might just stay out and, yeah, just continue to put the laps in.
Yeah, let's see how Ruven is doing. Right now, the lap times are fine, as we see he's going into the pits. I think Optiminal here might have done a mistake, because they should have pitted Ruven 1 lap earlier. So you keep Soltero behind. You don't give him the option to undercut, and you got the 2 Optiminals together. And I think now this is a chance for having not being able to put the 2 cars together. As we see Lucas Murno just going through turn 1, fastest lap for Joseph Horlock, and we will see where Mechede is just reaching the track. He's still in front of Soltero though. So this is a great position then for Optiminal, even though Soltero went for the under. Ooh, we see a small touch. The wall should be nothing, to be all fine. But yeah, now Optiminal need to worry about Murno, and we saw Murno at Indy going for the undercut and just keeping this position until the end of the race. Now is when the traffic just shows up, and Murno already cleared everything of the traffic, and that's the reason why they went so long. So you just outrun the traffic, and then once they got to their pitting windows, you just so you will not find much.
I don't think Ruben Machete is going to be very happy with that one, because he's ended up coming up behind his teammate as well, who was elected to have priority given to him by Optiminal, whether that was a personal decision from him to come in then as Quint comes into the box, or it was a team decision to either give Herlock the priority, or Machete was, I'm happy where I am and stay out. And as a result, it has cost Machete the teammate advantage and cost them the lead of the race as well. Pushka still yet to box. He was running at the back of the leading pack. I mean, is he maybe trying to go for a one-stop? He could be, you know, because lap 21, we're not horrendously far away from half distance. And obviously the hards are going to go a lot longer than the softs are, so maybe Pushka, I wonder if he's trying for a one-stop. We'll wait and see. He might just be very happy on these tyres and just going a lengthy first soft stint before going on to the mediums and then the mediums again. But we'll wait and see what the German is going to do.
I think he's pitting this lap. I think he's going for a soft, medium, soft. Maybe.
That could be very accurate, because, yep, he is diving in. Once again, Carlos Martin proves that he has the knowledge of a Super League race, so it's almost like he is one, and I have the knowledge of an idiot. Pusher comes in.
Don't say it. Come on.
Yeah. Pusher comes in. It'll probably be a set of the medium tyres for the former Super League champion, and then the German will head back out, and indeed it is a set of mediums on the Drake racing car. Murno then takes the lead of the race, and Optiminal 2 and 3, but they are swapped. Herlock up into second, Machete just behind, and Soltero down to fourth. So all change after the pit stops. This could very much be, Carlos, a race that is defined by when you come into the pits for your second stop. If, you know, it may be advantage Murno now, but if Soltero and Machete decide to box earlier for their second stops, they could be right on the money. But Murno also does have a 2-second lead. Pushka is back out in P6 as well, so his fight is now with Norbert Yakab for P5. So this could be Murno's race to lose, or it could be someone else's race to win. We'll have to wait and see.
Yes, and I'm checking also the sectors from Soltero and Murno, and even if you're on the medium tires, I don't think it's a tire that you should push. And more interestingly, the gaps are big right now. You can see Norbert Yakab, what is the gap between him and Soltero. It is super big, and so the train was completely killed when the pit stops came. And this is precisely why in these tracks that there are heavy DRS trains, is super important to save tires, because otherwise when the front leaders will just do that, and if you are pushing to keep there, whenever they go extremely long, you will just lose the pace and these gaps will be created. And I'm not entirely sure why Dragoon is P23 right now, because he's P23, but and maybe I've missed something during the race. But yeah, and this is the reason why you want to hold on track so much. And drivers right now like Soriano, who pitted super late, will actually have a higher end on the drivers they have in front, and Pushka as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pushka now overtakes Jakab fairly easily, and then Soriano overtakes Lucchini, Kropp, and Jakab himself.
Yeah, that very much could be happening. Jan Dragoon, of course, was caught up in that lap 1 chaos. He had his own little incident. We didn't quite catch it, unfortunately. But I did see him going slowly at the back early doors. And yeah, he's just been running an unscheduled test session for the rest of the race, unfortunately. And I believe he's either just dived into the pits or he may have DNF'd as well. Let's just wait for the timing tower to tick. I know he's coming in for that'll be his second stop of the race now. On to a set of the mediums. Yeah, unfortunately, an unscheduled test session at the team's home track for Jan Dragoon. He'll be devastated with that one, but that is racing. Sometimes it just goes that way. Now, Optiminal might have dug themselves into a little bit of a hole here, because they've got their number 2 driver in Joseph Herlock ahead of their number 1 driver in Ruben Machete. They swapped over the pit stops. Herlock just got the undercut, but Machete has more pace, so he'll be on the radio
yeah, so
saying...
very close.
Yeah, so he'll be on the radio saying we should swap, let me go in front of Joseph, we can push together and attack Lucas Murno, because they've lost 0.5 of a second over the last couple of laps to Murno together. But Soltero's right there and attacking him, so Optiminal can't risk swapping the drivers, so he's going to have to get through Joseph on his own accord. I don't think Joseph will make it particularly difficult.
They will do it now.
Yeah, they may do it now too. Yeah, DRS and push to pass. Yeah, well, there you go then. As I was going on there, yeah, I was going to say I don't think Herlock's going to make it very difficult, and he doesn't. So now Machete can push onwards, lead Herlock with him as well. Who'll go on the radio again, get Joseph just to follow me. We'll push forward, cut down that advantage to Mono. We're on fresher rubber. We can catch him before the end of this stint. So let's watch this Optiminal pair. This is why it's so crucial to have two cars who are really, really close together on pace. Even though Machete might be the #1 driver ahead of Joseph Herlock, Herlock will still do a job, still turn up and still run lap times very, very close to his teammate. It's something we see at True North as well. Your Cab Dragoon normally very, very close together out on the racetrack, but at other teams, as there's a big wee, is getting all sorts of sideways there. Yeah, with other teams, you do find it where one driver is significantly stronger than the other, and it just takes away that team dynamic. It takes away that ability to play with strategy from a team perspective. So Machete and Herlock will now try and check out together. Let's see if they're going to do that. Soltero, though, really putting the pressure on. He still really wants a podium on his debut here, Carlos.
Yeah, he really wants the podium on his debut, and it's super important now for Soltero to actually get rid of Herlock ASAP, because whenever Herlock is losing the DRS, you just want to get through it. And if you have more pace than both of the Optiminals, as well it looks like, because he's racing super close, he's either pushing the tires more than the Optiminal drivers, or he just has clearly way more pace because he's driving so close to their gearboxes. That's why he had this small snap of oversteer heading into turn 6. Turn 7, sorry. Yeah, it's very important for him to, if Herlock is able to keep on DRS, it's fine, but maybe attack Herlock before Machete gets DRS from Murno, because then otherwise it will be almost impossible for you to actually pull a move.
Just looking at the lap times now, on the previous tour, Machete was fractionally faster than Murno, and you can see the gap has already come down to about 2.3 seconds from 2.5. So definitely the right decision to have Machete back in front of Herlock, whether that was a team swap over or it was a, Machete was like, I'm just going to catch you and overtake you. Don't make it difficult for me, please, teammate. And of course, Herlock is now following and is going with his teammate Soltero.
He is using push to pass. He won almost 5 tenths in the straight. So probably Herlock doesn't have the pace right now, and he's using Machete as an anchor to maybe bring himself to fighting Lucas. But yeah, this might just backfire, because yeah, if you drain your push to pass a lot in these laps, then you will not have any for the end of the race.
Well, Lady Luck, to be fair, maybe on Joseph Herlock's side. Again, as I mentioned at the start of the broadcast, last 4 times we've been here to Canada, it's been won by an Englishman, and Herlock is the highest up in the order right now, waving the St. George's Cross. Oh my goodness, getting very squirrely though, and now does drop out of DRS from his teammate. So now it's going to have to be a defensive effort from Soltero, or from Herlock, to keep Soltero behind. He is pushing really hard, and it's almost cost him big time there, almost out of the race, as he got all sorts of sideways, getting on the loud pedal out of that chicane there. Doesn't take the curbs too aggressive. We know that Soltero really likes whacking those sausage curbs at the final chicane. Herlock and Machete as well. Maybe it's just the way Optiminal have set their car up, because both of them just taking it a bit more gently, giving the curbs a bit more berth. Yes, it's a safer route, but it is a little bit slower. And yeah, well, as a result of that mistake, Herlock's now going to have to use even more push to pass to get back into DRS range, and still the rear end all over the place, Carlos. Herlock is pushing like a madman at the moment.
Yeah, Herlock is just draining his push to pass. There's no way you can keep a driver behind being so close. And we saw it with Machete and Soltero in the early stages of the race when they were overtaking each other. They were not using push to pass to defend themselves. They knew, okay, we want to use it at the end of the race. And yeah, Herlock again doesn't have the DRS from Machete. And if he wants to keep Soltero behind, he will need to keep draining the push to pass button. And it's very noticeable when he's using it, because you can see when he is just reducing the gap with Machete. Right now he's not using it, just a tiny bit. He won 1/10 in the straight. But if Soltero is not committed to just overtake him, then Soltero is just like, okay, you're dragging me in the straights, and then at some point I will just decide to overtake you.
I think we may be having some issues for possibly Michel Galka. No, it's Alexander Ragotra, but he's losing shed loads of times. In fact, he's out of the race. So another DNF there, 22 cars remaining. What has happened to the Gallery 82 of Alexander Ragotra? A real shame for him. He was having a very solid showing so far this evening. So hopefully we'll get a replay. We do, in fact, get a replay. Fantastic job from Fabian Jungbluth, reading my mind once again. He's doing a brilliant job on the cameras. What's happened to Ragotra then? This is coming into the final chicane before the hairpin. Runs wide and yet just meets the barrier. And I'm assuming that was curtains as a result of that one. I mean, visually, from this angle, it looks like the car would have made it back to the pits, but I wonder if he's taken a rear wheel off. But yeah, that is him done and dusted, and of course, billowing smoke out of the engine as well. So a real shame for him there. And well, yep, 22 drivers left then. Murno still leads from Machete from Herlock, and that gap now down to 1.4 seconds. It is visually getting very close. Machete's almost back in DRS range. The Optiminals got a lot of pace on them, Carlos. When they want to push, they can.
Yeah, when they want to push, they can. We will see how it ends up going for this. Because the key moments will be at the end of the stint once again, right? There is 28 laps to go. Depends on what approach do you do for the last stint. Do you go for the medium? Do you go for the soft? If you go for the soft, you're giving up a track position for a better pace at the end of the race. I don't think any of these drivers, as we see Herlock struggling all over the place already, and just trying to hang for the DRS for his life, actually. I think he will just deplete the push to pass once again. Maybe it would be interesting for Soltero to do the same. But yeah, he's still in DRS range from Machete, and Machete is going to soon have the DRS from Murno. So yeah, I think the opportunity for Soltero to actually contest for the first place in this second stint is maybe running out. Yeah, in order to have a chance to overtake Herlock, you will need to be super close.
This is kicking off, or starting to get their way anyway, and it's setting itself up to be a fantastic ending as well, because the top four once again are right on top of each other. Joseph Herlock, man oh man, he is driving like his life depends on it, going right to the limit and then some. I mean, just look at how Herlock's car's behaving. Look at how hard he's pushing. The rear end is just moving so much in the mid-corner and on corner exit. I mean, it makes for spectacular viewing, but it's got to be pretty uncomfortable driving. You'd almost think at that point, if you're really risking a crash with how much you're pushing, you want to just scale it back a little bit. You know, bring yourself back from that layer. Let the tyres just cool down a bit and reset before you can push onwards once again. Yellow flags out in Sector 3, and they're still hanging around, but gone now, so hopefully everyone's okay. And that's Galka, and that is a double DNF for Gallery 82. That's a big hit on the inside wall. He's lost it coming out of the final chicane. No overtaking then into the final chicane as well for our race leaders, as there's Michael Falkenhayn. He's currently doing battle with David Krupa. Lucas Murno still leads on lap 32. But that is a double DNF in the blink of an eye. The Gallery 82 Motorsport, another replay here. Let's follow around Galka. As this is him a bit earlier on in the lap, just coming through to the final chicane, or final chicane before the hairpin there. So has there been a mistake? So there was a mistake earlier on, so he's gone straight on there. But the car looks okay. And then coming to the final chicane, was one mistake causing another? Dirty tyres maybe, or is he just gone a bit too hard? Yep. Bit too hard. And that's a huge hit onto the inside wall. A bigger hit than Angry Jin, John Carlos Tevez at Soccer Aid a few nights ago. That is absolutely massive, and a double DNF for the team as well. Heartbreaking for them. Lap 32 of 58, 21 cars remaining now. It's not been a race of attrition by any means. We've had a fair few DNFs in this one. And up the front, it is getting tasty because the top 4 separated now by 1.5 seconds, covering all 4 of them. This is getting really close. We might start to see some moves being made very soon, Carlos.
Yes, but I'm checking the pace on Race View on the live timing, and the pace doesn't look great for Murno. He's racing in the mid-15s, which is the pace they were doing at the end of the stint of the soft tire, and this just makes me wonder if they really need to pit. Maybe they overpush the mediums and they really need to pit, even though they haven't done many laps on it. They have done 16 laps, which are the same as they did on the soft tire. So I don't know, it makes me do a lot of questions. 25 laps from now, even with the medium, could be a long way. You will need to actually save a lot of tires to make it to the end. It is doable to just pit now, but yeah, I don't think strategy-wise any of these guys is looking to pit anytime soon. And it's very who makes out of question, like Mercedes did 19 laps with the softs. So 19 laps before the end is lap 39, which is in 6 laps to go. It is pretty doable to me to actually try to do that. For the other ones who actually weren't able to go as long in the first stint, it would be much more of a stretch. So I'm wondering if here the difference in strategy for Mercedes is to set a soft tire at the end of the race, and Murno is completely forced to use the medium in the next system.
Well, that could be a possibility as Moritz Kropp comes in the Lunart car, standing in for David Feidock this evening. That's why it's got David Feidock's name and number on the inside of the halo, which, yeah, you can do that nowadays. I remember when halos were first thinking motorsport, you weren't allowed to paint on the inside of them because it was considered a distraction. But yeah, apparently you can get away with that now on. So anyway, Harry Smith, who is not leading the NetRex charge, but I think he is on a massive... No, he actually had that penalty, had a drive-through, didn't he? Yeah. After speeding in the pit lane. So that's why he's dropped down, and Jose Soriano now leads the charge for the team. So as he try and find his way through, that's Maxime Bulio ahead in P11, who's on the soft tyres. It's Bulio going soft. It wasn't the greatest of qualifying, unfortunately, for Bulio at their home race. Yeah, looks like they went soft, so Bulio will be coming in for a set of the hard, surely, pretty soon, as that's someone getting well out of the way to let some drivers through. Is that someone stopping? Is that, yeah, Matthias Canapino. Is that
he was in the
problems
points.
There? He was in the points, and he still is in the points, but if you can't get going in a moment, yeah, that looks like there's some sort of failure being on the car or the wheelbase. What is going on with Canapino? It's just, is he just stopped? Let's just have a look. Get the replay here. You can see car's fine coming into the hairpin, and it just doesn't go. Yeah, no throttle.
It looks like a pedal issue.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like yeah, because the brake pedal's working. You can see on the telemetry there, he's pressing brake and he's getting it. So and it's still got nothing. Oh, there was a bit of movement there and it's back.
Okay.
All right, to the Argentine, able to continue again. Whatever issues he's had, he's fixed. But yeah, just pulled over to the side of the racetrack, hopped down to his pedal box, had a look, maybe took it out and plugged it back in again. Gives it a little wobble. Oh, no, I think he's decided that he's had enough. Oh dear, I don't.
No.
Wow. Okay.
No.
Matthias.
This is not okay.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. I'm sorry, but if you're frustrated, you can't endanger other drivers out on the racetrack, and there's going to be a hefty penalty coming his way as well. He's out of the race. That's a real shame for him, of course. We saw just moments ago had those issues with the throttle pedal, but you cannot take out your frustrations like that on a racetrack when you could be endangering other drivers. It's simply unacceptable. I'm sorry about that. Back to the lead of the race anyway. Murno leads from Machete, from Herlock, from Soltero, your top 4. And actually, that is, who's that behind them? Is that one of the True North cars? Yeah, it's Jan Dragoon, who is, who's a lap down, but sticking with the leaders anyway, just because he can for the sake of it. And, you know, just seeing what lap times he can run, which is very much fair enough. Of course, got caught up in that incident early doors and is just running a, he's just running an unscheduled test session there.
But is quite close now to Murno, so I'm not sure if he's going to attack. But yeah, he's right now just in position to maybe with a bit of P2P deployment. As we see, there is such a different line between Ruben and Murno. And oh, they're side by side. They're side by side, Herlock and Soltero, and Soltero goes through. Oh, probably a mistake from Joseph Herlock out of the last chicane. Just allowed Soltero to go through for P3.
Yeah, Soltero moving up a place. The Brem GP car, the pole sitter, slides into the podium places on lap 37 of 58. Was starting to get some attacks, starting to get some moves going. Herlock, I mean, he's been struggling with the car this entire stint. The rear end's moving around like it's nobody's business. And, you know, I think finally just the pressure getting the better of him. Soltero got the run and he's just decided, you know, there's no point trying to fight this. I just don't have the pace on this medium tyre right now to try and stick with him. And you can see already starting to drop back is the Optimal car. So it's Murno from Machete, from Soltero, your top 3 now. And Soltero potentially lining up a move on Machete here as well, because he's only 3/10 away at the exit of the corner. Machete using push to pass, though, down the straight. Does he fancy a move on Lucas Murno? Yes, he does. This is for the lead of the race. Ruben Machete, the championship leader, goes in front of the Brazilian and resumes the lead once again, as it's all getting very close to the wall of champions there in the background. Suddenly, as Soltero may be looking for a move on Murno as well, who's gone defensive into turn 1. Suddenly, someone sparked the match that set this race alight, because we've got all change at the front as we're starting to come towards the final pit stop window for our race leaders. Soltero and Machete making moves, Murno and Herlock potentially struggling on the rubber, and it's anyone's guess who's going to be wherever they are when we get to the pit stop window. Look at how wide Murno was there as well. He's really struggling on the rubber here, Carlos.
Yes, the window is already open, and most importantly, here, if you're Soltero, you don't want to lose time. I was checking the lap times. They're racing ooh, there's a big wiggle there. They're racing fairly slow. Pushka was like 7 seconds behind this group, and now he's 2.9 seconds. So it was a noticeable slow pace. They decided to stick to this pace maybe for strategy-wise, take care of your tires and everything, as we see Soltero just going for the move. But I think now we will see the Fusion driver going to the pits, I think. But, well, he stays on track. Oh, no, yeah, he goes to the pits. I think it's the smart move. The pace was just not there. And I was not checking the gaps right now. But very likely he will land just one car of traffic maybe in 1 or 2 laps. So yeah, he goes for the medium this range for 19 laps. I think the best thing you can do is go for the medium. Jakab also going for the medium, and you cannot ignore him. It was fairly close to the group. He was 2.4 seconds off the group. So if you take a lot of time pitting, you might lose a position. So if you're Soltero, if you're Machete, are you reacting to this? Are you sticking to your maybe plan of keep going for 2 or 3 more laps, and then you go for a softer compound and going for the attack in the last stages of the race? It is very risky. I think Herlock has to pit. There is no question. If Machete doesn't pit for the race win, Herlock has to pit.
Yeah, Herlock's got to come in. He's been struggling on those mediums for a while now, and I mean, again, dropping off the back of Soltero. Yes, oh, Machete braking on the grass, really starting to push. Herlock doesn't come in. I mean, I know that Machete and Soltero are starting to push now as well, but I'd have been convinced the English driver would have been coming in at the end of that lap. He's just not quite had the pace. Last time out, well, Machete was a 1:15.2, Soltero was a 1:14.9, Herlock a 1:15.4. So the front two definitely starting just to crank it up a little bit as they get towards their pit stop window, start pushing.
They were racing in 15.5 the lap before, and as soon as Murno pitted, they started doing 14.9 for Soltero. So this is how much of a different pace there was, and this change of pace is super important to cover up on the attacks from Murno and the attacks from Jakob. This is crucial for the race victory. This is Ruben Machete, Oscar Soltero versus Murno, and we cannot forget it, Jakob. We cannot forget Jakob, and I think this decision of Herlock just deciding to not pit is lefting him out for the race win fight.
There are so many drivers that could be on the top step of the podium at the end of this race. Either of the front two bite Machete in. Race leader comes in, Soltero stays out as well. What tyres does Machete go on to? Because he could go soft if he wanted to. I think it will be the medium. No, it is soft. Wow, that is brave. Brave from Ruben Machete. He goes soft for the final stint. Does Murno get the jump? Do those tyres as Murno will get in front, I believe. We'll wait and see where it comes out. Yep, he is. Machete still on pit exit. Of course, he can cut out turn one. But the Fusion will now have the net lead of the race. But he's on the softs. They'll have an immediate pace advantage. Do they last the race, though? Oh, man!
Soltero needs to react to this. He cannot wait. He needs to react to this right now, because the amount of time he's gonna lose, he's probably gonna be 2 seconds behind Machete, and bringing down 2 seconds is a difficulty. It's not easy, as we see a yellow in sector 1, but Soltero needs to react to this. If he wants to win, he needs to pit now. This is the moment. There's no other chance, and unless you're extremely scared that the softs will not make it, you need to pit now. This is the moment, and he doesn't! Wow!
Oh, goodness me. Herlock comes in. That's Pushka just behind him as well, who's snuck up to the back of him in the last few laps. I don't think Pushka's really a threat for the race win, but he is there nonetheless. Herlock, it's going to be mediums by the looks of things for Herlock. Again, we'll give it a lap or two to just update itself potentially. Let's see what Pushka goes soft as well. Oh, suddenly at the flip of a switch, this race could be turning on its head. Currently, Murno, net race leader by 15. Well, he's 15.8 behind Soltero, and that gap's just dropping and dropping every single corner. Machete is about 1.5 seconds behind at the moment. Pushka comes out right behind Joseph Herlock. And Norbert Jakob as well. They've actually come out in front of Jakob, so Pushka's jumped Jakob as a result of that. So suddenly Pushka could be back in the conversation for this one. Oh man, this is why we love GPVWC. It's these moments, these stories, where suddenly a race just turns on its head. Oscar Soltero surely has to come in on this lap. He'll drop down at least to 3rd place, possibly even further. And yes, he is going to come in on this lap. So let's see what tyres Soltero comes onto. He can, of course, definitely go soft. It'll got to be soft at this point. It's not a gamble from here. So, and comes in medium, maybe? Let's wait and see if it updates. But right now it's looking like it could be mediums. But yeah, I think with the other drivers, it was a little bit too close to call whether soft was the right move this time. With only a handful of laps left to go, I think soft is certainly the right move. Machete, fastest lap of the race, a 1:13.527. He is turning it up. Soltero comes out in P3, 5 seconds behind the leaders. This could very much be Ruben Machete's race to win now.
Yes, I think Soltero ruled out himself when he just decided to pit too late. I think he should just have pitted 1 lap later than Machete, and might not seem too much, but it will have been 2 seconds. And these 2 seconds, it will be very hard now to recover. And the only thing Soltero can bank it is on Machete and Murno fighting very hard and maybe losing time. I'm not entirely sure if the tires for Lucas are gonna be in a better state at the end of the race. I think he needs to defend it from this point until the end. There's no other chance for you to actually, if you let Machete go through and put his pace now that the tires are new for Machete, I think you lose the race. So the only thing that Soltero can bank it is on just them two fighting and maybe just catching up.
Maybe as well he'll try and keep Machete behind him so he can cook those soft tires in the dirty air and take away, and then it might be a bit of a struggle for Machete to get to the end of the race on that set. It's already going to be a bit touch and go. I think by the end of the stint, certainly the mediums will be the quicker tire between them and the soft. But right now, I mean, Machete is just driving like a man possessed. I mean, a 1:13.378 fastest lap of the race. That was his last lap as well. Murno could only manage a 1:13.8, but they are both pushing so hard. I mean, look at it. This is just superb stuff. You've got the Brazilian, the newcomer, the one who upset the apple cart and in just 2 races brought Fusion Racing their first win in GPVWC since 2019. And Machete, the experienced, not quite a veteran, but a man with Super League races under his belt, the man who knows what he's doing. Carlos thinks this is the moment as Murno goes defensive. Machete has to go the long way around, side by side, almost coming together. That is bravery defined from Ruven Machete as he sweeps around the outside at the final chicane. Murno had to get out of it to avoid an accident. What a move, and a move that potentially decides the race as Joseph Herlong now sets the fastest lap of the race. Is that identical in fact to Machete? No, it is a couple of thousandths faster. But man, oh man, that was a great move. Excuse me, as it's making me choke how good that move that was. And that could be the move that decides the race, Carlos.
Yeah, definitely it is. It was super risky for Machete, considering all the factors, right? The championship, considering the race, maybe he could have tried in a different lap. Murno had to go through the anti-cut so hard that anything could have actually... My God, that was so close. I mean, Murno decided to give up. Because if he doesn't give up, he just clips Ruven completely. And that was very risky, but it will be what gives him probably the race here tonight. Yeah, they go side by side into the chicane. Yeah, it's a very risky move. It's very risky.
Oh, it's such a good move, though. I mean, oh, it's after 9 o'clock. The testicular fortitude of Ruven Machete there, that was unreal through there. And I mean, it was fantastic racing as well. So much respect shown from Machete to Murno to have that trust in his rival to, you know, race him hard, but not to have an accident there. Wow. That is absolutely brilliant. But it must be said, Machete's not vanishing into the distance. Lap 46 of 58. We've got 13 to go. Be 12 at the line. Murno's still within DRS. I don't think Machete is checking out quite how he would have wanted to. So maybe, just maybe, it's not done yet. Yes, he is creeping away. Come on, Carlos. I'm trying to make it exciting. It's my job. You know, I just don't think that Machete's quite pulling away as much as he wants to. And Murno is still setting really good, really consistent 13.7s, 13.8. And he's actually just done his own personal best middle sector on this lap as well. So Murno is just keeping within DRS as Tom van der Voort now fastest lap of the race, 1:13.117. Sorry, I didn't know the Drake Racing driver like that. Very nice indeed. As we come to the line now, let's see the lap times between Murno and Machete. And Machete, once again, yeah, a couple of tenths faster. But it's not massive, and Murno's staying with him. If he can use his push to pass, use that DRS, he can very much stay with him. A little bit later in the race, it could get a bit interesting. Let's wait and see what's going to happen as we're now on lap 47. On board with Philip Pushka, who's all over the back of Joseph Herlock in the other Optiminal car. And these guys themselves about 2.5 seconds away from Soltero, who himself has cut that gap down to Murno massively. He's himself as 2.5 seconds. So even if the race lead is done, Carlos Martin, there's still potentially a lot of moves still to come over the remaining 12 laps.
Yeah, for sure. I think Soltero will maybe have a chance on Murno. And Murno is right now in that edge of losing the DRS, and it will be key for him to actually keep those. As we see Philip Pushka just applying the pressure on Joseph Harlock, and we have seen Joseph struggling a bit more on the tire wear end, right? So maybe, and Philip, we saw how good he is with the tire management. So for sure, Philip will have a chance from now until the end of the race. Yeah, for the rest, I think everything else is pretty established, at least in the top 7. And we have a fight between P9 and P10 as well. That is the other interesting point between Mike Quint and Harry Smith, which I'm not entirely sure who is pressuring with who. But both drivers have a bit of an eventful race, with Harry Smith having the drive-through penalty, and Mike Quint having a bit of more of a struggling race here today. We didn't see Lunark, neither Kings being fairly strong today. They have been on the rise in the past Grand Prix, right? We have seen them fairly strong at Indianapolis. We have seen them fairly strong as well at Jeddah, but they don't look the greatest either, neither did Crop. So yeah, probably they're a bit of the struggling end tonight.
Yeah, maybe a bit of an evening to forget, unfortunately, for those two. As Pushka now up to P4, up the inside of Herlock, gets it done before the final chicane. That's as easy as they're going to come for Philip Pushka, a former Super League champion, up to 4th place now. And, well, again, a season so far it has been bizarre for the German. 2 second places in the opening 2 rounds. Then a DNF in Japan, missed the race in Saudi Arabia, 6th place in Spain, and then a DNF last time as well. Consistent, yeah, but I think he'd much rather be winning races up the front. It will soon come, surely, for the Drake Racing driver. We know he's got the ability to be winning races, certainly in Superlights. I just don't think it's quite fallen his way yet. As Joseph Herlock, he's had a good race, but he's definitely struggled in the latter half. The first, or the second stint, should I say, you could tell he wasn't quite gelling with that medium tyre and the tyre drop-off as well. And now I think he's just kind of, maybe just the frustration's bubbling over a little bit. He's still pushing very, very hard, though, must be said. And they'll still be trying to fight right to the end of the race. Soltero, though, is starting to catch Murno now. 1.5 seconds separating them. Murno himself 1.5 away from Machete. So Machete now has a pretty healthy advantage at the front of the race. I'm not saying it's over yet. Carlos Martin thought it was over a fair few laps ago, but anything can happen in racing, and it normally does. Let's just wait and see what the racing gods have in store for us over the last handful of laps here at the circuit. Gilles Villeneuve, if you've just joined us, man, oh man, you've missed a barnstormer. A race of pure tension and strategic wonder that has exploded in the last 10 laps. Moritz Kropp, meanwhile, has a DNF from the race. I think we may have missed that one. So unfortunate there for him. 19 drivers still go around. Falkenhayn in the pits, currently at the back of the pack. Himself and Jan Dragoon were caught in the wars on lap 1. And actually, that's Falkenhayn DNFing. So then that's 18 cars still in there. Jan Dragoon determined to finish this race. And I got to tip my hat to him. That's fair play after the chaos of lap number 1. His teammate, Norbert Jakab, currently up in P6, doing a respectable enough job for True North's home race. Harry Smith still putting big pressure on Mike Quint here, Carlos. Again, both of these guys, as you said a few laps ago, not had races to remember. It's been a bit disappointing for both of them. Harry Smith, who'll be looking to recover after he had a penalty as well for speeding in the pit lane. You know, he'll be very hungry to get this P9, and I think it's not long before he gets through.
Well, it will be interesting to see. I'm not entirely sure which tires does Quint have. I think he's on the soft, so he might be more in the struggling end right now. We don't know if this will be the case for the leading cars right now. And yeah, I think Harry can opt for this maybe P9. Maybe he's just waiting to the best moment to use the push to pass, just tear down, waiting for the softs to tear down a bit more than what they are right now. And for the rest, Soltero is almost in DRS range from Murno. So I think the opportunities for the Spanish driver are based on executing fast. So the soft tires are just wearing down. The advantage you have compared to the mediums is slowly going down. So if you want to contest for this P2 and maybe more, you just need to apply the pressure now and execute this lap or next lap. This is my take.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to come soon. It definitely needs to come soon as well. It's just a matter of when it comes. I think you are right, though. It might be lining up to be this lap, actually, as Harry Smith almost runs into the back of Quint there, getting very, very close, but a poor exit from the corner. He's going to need to use some push to pass, maybe, in the DRS to try and squeeze by and get up into P9 and get a few more points on the board for Netrex Grand Prix. Right now, if we finish as we do, in terms of championship standings, Ruben Machete will extend his championship lead even further. It will be over a race win gap in points back to Soriano in second place. Jan Dragoon, I think, is definitely going to be losing out to his teammate Norbert Jakab, given that he's not earning any points. And Jakab is setting up to get himself a nice 10 points after this one. So it could all be changed there in terms of the constructors table. Well, what a surprise. It's going to be Optiminal that continue to extend their gap, shall we say, up the front of the pack, with Machete winning and Herlock in P5. That being said, True North, though, True North, I think, will just about hold on to second place from Netrex GP. It's very close between the pair of them. Even with Jan Dragoon down and out of the points with his test session, I think they will still hold on. Here we go, then. This is getting interesting, because up the front, Carlos, there's no time at all between Soltero and Murno, and Murno's back in DRS of Ruben Machete. So suddenly, we've got a three-way fight for the lead on our hands once again. This could get very, very tasty over the last handful of laps.
Is Machete slowing down to give Murno DRS? Is he maybe just doing this on purpose because maybe he's more concerned about Soltero than Murno? Because let's remember, Soltero has 2 lap fresher tires than Machete, and this might be maybe the difference, right? But maybe his concern is more Soltero, and maybe he's just slowing down to give Murno the DRS, and maybe just give himself the chances. I don't know, could be, because he this lap is slower. He slowed down 2/10 in sector 2. Ruben Machete. Was he super close? He will have a shot now for turn 1. Oscar Soltero going for the outside, and we see now he will have the chance, will have the inside for turn 2, and he makes it stick. What an amazing move from Oscar Soltero, making debut today in Superlights, and now he can contest for the race win.
Wow, what a wonderful move. And if Machete did slow down to give Murno DRS, has he just shot himself in the foot? Because suddenly, the Brem Grand Prix car is right on the tail of the race leader. Was it a mistake from Machete? Does he just not have the pace? Did he slow down on purpose? What matters is that right now, Oscar Soltero is potentially on the cusp of winning his first ever Superlights race in his first ever Superlights race. What a story that would be. Oh, goodness me. I love this series sometimes. Lap 54, soon to be 55 of 58, and the top 3 are locked in battle. Baby, it all comes down to this as we see Machete breaking the toe big time. Soltero to the inside at the final chicane. He will have the inside. Oscar Soltero goes to the lead, but he's compromised on corner 6. Yeah, he does have DRS as well. Machete was a bit slow off the corner as well. It looked like he was going to get the initial jump, but he was slow off the corner. Soltero in the lead with the tyre advantage as Murno nearly wipes out the German in front of him. Oh man, we are in for a barnstorming finish. No, it is not over, Carlos. You were wrong earlier. It's so back. Do not scratch your eyes. Don't turn away. Don't even blink. You are really witnessing what might be one of the best endings to a GPVWC race. Carlos Martin, it's advantage Oscar Soltero, but Machete and Murno are right there.
Yeah, but this is not over. We saw how powerful the DRS is, and the P2P management you had to do through the whole race comes into play now. There is the upcoming laps you will need to defend from the championship leader, Ruben Machete, who is the strongest driver right now in Superlights, and there is no question about that. He has almost opened a full second of gap, but Mercedes not gonna give up, and maybe now he needs to worry about Murnau. Maybe he didn't concede the DRS to Murnau intentionally. Maybe he was just starting to struggle with the tires.
Maybe, who can tell? He's still staying within that DRS range though, still 6-ish tenths away from the race leader. Oh man, this is going to be so tight at the end. Yeah, so maybe Machete, maybe he is struggling with tires, maybe it was a mistake, who knows, but right now, he's going to need to get a shift on and get a push on. Soltero does have a couple of laps advantage on his tires. And maybe for the final stint, when it was all about the undercuts at the first pit stop window, maybe for the second stop, it was about the overcut. It was about playing that second stint a little bit longer, just so you have that advantage right at the end of the race as Machete nearly meets the wall, has to get out of the throttle and could be dropping out of DRS here. Oscar Soltero may have just revealed the perfect hand and played his chips bang on the money, because it's going to be 2 laps left to go at the line this time, and he's now 1.3 seconds ahead of Ruben Machete, who really looks like he's struggling now. He's made a couple of mistakes. Soltero not home and dry yet, but he could be very shortly. 2 laps to go as they cross the line, Carlos Martin. Oscar Soltero is on for a Cinderella win here.
Yeah, this might be the Cinderella win. There is 2 laps to go, and the race here right now is Ruben able to keep this P2 from Lucas Murnau? We're seeing him struggling, and right now Machete doesn't have something to defend with himself with the DRS from Soltero. Maybe it was too soon to pit, maybe it was, but right now this is the situation we have head into, and he will just need to make his car wide the same way he managed to do the move to overtake the Brazilian driver. He now needs to make the same thing for defending. There is no other option.
We'll have to wait and see what it's going to be when they come to the line. It'll be 1 lap to go. Machete using push to pass, desperately trying to get back into DRS range. Murnau senses second place calling. Machete breaking the toe, really struggling on traction now. I think he may have just taken a bit too much out of those soft tires. Murnau to the inside. The Brazilian will take home second place. 1 lap left to go here in Canada. And Oscar Soltero has a 1.5 second lead as Murnau makes it second place. The Brazilian slides past the championship leader. Man, oh man, oh man. This would be some story if it's able to come off. Half lap left to go, Carlos. Can you see Murnau getting any closer, or does Soltero just need to hold on?
Nah, he just needs to hold on. No mistakes. Use all the P2P you have remaining, and Murnau will be more worried about what he has behind. I don't think there is anything else. As we see Herlock also applying the pressure on Pushka, he's very close as well. So yeah, these soft tires, maybe it was too soon when they set them, and now just Ruben Machete is scrolling back. I think this is set for the finishing line.
Wow, just wow. What an ending to this race we have just witnessed. It flipped itself on its head. A strategy battle that went the way no one expected. And at the end of it all, ready to take his maiden GPVWC win in only his debut Superlight start, Oscar Soltero! Machete's hit the wall at the final corner. Soltero wins. Machete spins. He's going to try and cross the line backwards. Pushka's going to steal the podium at the line. Herlock finishes in front of him. What on earth has just happened? Is that even legal? I don't even know. As Soltero wins, Machete spins, but it is the Spaniard's day. His first Superlight start, his first GPVWC win. What a story there. What an ending. What a race we have just seen here in Montreal. Man, oh man, oh man. That is special. Brem GP's first win since Tom Satherley took the opening round of the season as well. Here's Lucas Murnau getting through Machete for the win, whose tyres clearly just couldn't quite last it. We knew it was going to be touch and go when he came into the pits. but he just pushed on a little bit too much. Again, we saw that was the previous lap already, a little bit squirrely out of the final corner. Wow. Man, oh man. And then, of course, it was coming to the checkered flag that Machete would spin round. It was about a lap later, I believe. Carlos Martin, though, what an unbelievable race.
Oh wow, what was that ending? You know what we got wrong when we said it was in the hairpin and we said, oh, this is how it's gonna end? Well, we just forgotten the fact that there is the last chicane, which is probably the most difficult corner of the track. Wow, this is... I mean, still no, Ruben still finished ahead of his championship rivals, of course. He will not be happy for this. We can see how the tires are sliding so much. And of course, he just had to bring it home. But I mean, on the bright side, which will be hard for him to see right now, is that he's outscoring his championship rivals, right? I mean, at the end of the day, he's aiming for this championship. And Filip Puška at the end brings a podium for Drake Racing. They crossed side by side almost with Joseph Horlock. And he just clips the curb. This curb is fairly dangerous. He selects reverse, which I don't know at this point if it was the fastest or not. I would argue at least it was the safest option, the most predictable option. And that wall he was just hanging there was famous this weekend for another thing. But wow, what a race was today. We had emotion. And Oscar Soltero from pole position takes race win here from Brame GP. Lucas Murno takes P2 for Fusion Racing. Filip Puška takes P3 for Drake Racing, almost finishing side by side on the racing line with Joseph Horlock. Ruben Machete with a difficult last lap finishes in P5, Novoriaka P6, damage limitation for Jose Sorian in P7, Ruben Merlin P8, Mike Quinn P9, Harry Smith P10. Mirko Lucchini P11, Giuseppe Saracino P12, Federico Russo P13, Maxim Bulli P14, Luke Mitchell P15, Tom van der Voort P16, David Krupa P17, Jan Dragun P18, Michael Falkenheim P19, Moritz Kropp P20 DNF. So we have now the bunch of DNFs: Canapino, Galca Rugosa, Stefano, Sicora, Borley, Scott Mitchell-Mann, Daniel Scott, and Brody Lawless. So that will sum it up for the race results from today. And yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I will just say before we get into our interviews, if I was an opportunistic team boss in Superlights and I saw Ruben Machete crossing the finishing line backwards, I would be straight on the phone to the DC and the stewards. Because, you know, there's surely got to be something in the rule book that says that's all. I don't think he will get a penalty for it. You know, again, as you said, Carlos, it was probably the safest thing to do in that situation. But, you know, with sim racing politics, you got to try these things, don't you? Let's crack on with our interview, shall we? And let's first of all speak to our race winner, who on his debut in GPVWC Superlights has played it perfectly. Oscar Soltero, if you can hear us, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, how on earth have you done that?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, well, first of all, thank you. And then I don't know. I to be honest, after the first stint, I thought that the race was almost over because Ruben was gonna have the tire advantage. But then, you know, I tried to go longer than them in the second one to gain that advantage back. And in the end, I don't know what he did to his tire, but he just dropped the pace very soon. So I was capable of catching him and overtaking him. So great race.
Yeah, that is one way to say it. I mean, your first ever Superlights race, and you've come out victorious at the end. It was simply a brilliant drive. And of course, fantastic lap in qualifying as well to start up the front of the field. I mean, you've only done 2 GPVWC races before this, and they were last week. So where have you been for the last half a season?
In iRacing, to be honest. But yeah, no, but this championship is very good. I hope I can do more races because I'm having a lot of fun. This strategy thing with the tires is something that I had never, have never experienced before, and it's very, very, very fun. So yeah, I hope I can do more races from now on.
Well, we hope so as well. Carlos Martin, anything to say to our brand new race winner here?
First of all, Oscar, congrats on your race win, and I guess your dog also is very excited about your race win. You can hear in the background. Regarding push-to-pass management, this is something new for you compared to FS2, of course, that you raced Tuesday last week, and for FS1, it's a very different usage. How was the race? How challenging was the race for you in this regard, managing the P2P and to be cold with your mind about managing it?
No, to be honest, the push-to-pass is not that new for me because I had it in the Super Formula 9 racing, so I'm very used to it. But it was more challenging the tires than the push-to-pass, to be honest. But yeah, just tried to use a bit. I almost didn't use it in the first stint, so I saved it for the rest of the race, and I think it paid off because that's part of the reason I catched up Ruben and when I was able to overtake. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, well, congratulations, Oscar, and well, we hope to see you more out here in the GPVWC League, and I'm fairly sure opportunities will come in the coming rounds for you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Well, that was Oscar Soltero making his Superlights debut and winning the race as well. Simply unbelievable. Let's move on. I know he didn't finish second, he may have finished third, but he was waiting first. So we'll grab Philip Pushkarin to have a word. Philip, well, that was a bit of a lucky podium at the end there, but a good race nonetheless. You must be pretty happy with that one.
Yeah, I mean, considering I was very unhappy yesterday and like 30 seconds of Lucas at the race, I think that's a good result. Let's keep trying to get back on track after a few very disappointing events. But yeah, let's keep pushing.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely fair enough. And again, a little bit of luck going your way to get onto the podium at the end there. But, you know, you were consistently solid all throughout the race and you were consistently at the back of that leading pack as well, which I think is kind of what you needed. You just needed a consistent finish today. And luckily you got that. So a big congratulations. What is the game plan then moving forward from here? What's the plan heading forward to the next round when we go to Silverstone?
Yeah, I think I deserved a little bit of luck after very much bad luck for the last 2 or 3 races, so I think that's deserved in some way. Obviously unlucky for Ruben, but as I heard, it was on his own. So yeah, for the next race I think that I have to get back on track to get more laps in for every race, to get the setup like I wanted to be, like I did for the first few races, which worked pretty well. So yeah, looking forward to it, and let's keep going.
That's great to hear. Carlos, anything to ask to Philip?
Well, Philip, first of all, congratulations on your podium. It was a bit difficult to come back from behind and to have the chances you had today, and you had more of a difficult races in the past. I wanted to ask you, given the fact the car development it is right now, are you happy with the team's choices regarding the upgrades, or is there anything that the team must see from what other cars have and maybe just grab those things?
I absolutely hate to drive for this team. No, I'm pretty happy. I mean, the car's good. People are very nice and very productive in the group I'm in, setup-wise and practice-wise, lap times-wise, experience-wise. So I think that's I'm very happy considering the last few years where I didn't have any reference, didn't have any setup.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy and very thankful to be in that group.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's always more enjoyable to have someone to test with and share everything. So congratulations, Philip, and we hope to see you here even further in the coming races.
Yeah, thanks, and thanks for doing the stream. by the way.
It's all right, just doing our jobs, aren't we? Thank you very much to Philip Pushka for coming to speaking to us, getting a cheeky little podium there at the end of the race. Let's now drag in the man who did ultimately finish second. I'm hoping he's with us because I can see that his microphone is muted. But Lucas Murno, if you are here, a pretty nice race for you in the end there, getting a second place, another podium as well. Your good form continues.
Not gonna lie, it was a tiring race, but I had to gamble since I felt in the beginning of the race I could be quicker than Ruben and Oscar at the beginning, so I tried the undercut, which seems like later on it was a little bit of a mistake for me. I should have to stay a little bit 2 laps because the tires went a big difference in the end. And on the final race, Oscar did a better strategy. In the end, he stopped a little bit more later, some laps, and he could get the advantage, but at least I could beat the championship leader, so I'm satisfied with that. And was another podium for Fusion, so it proves it's not a situation from rain gonna help me or something. It was on pace, and I'm happy with that. I'm happy to have a good one for this race, and I can have a good perspective for the season of the Superlights remaining ahead.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah, it was a very solid race for you. Let's just talk about that final stint a little bit, because obviously Reuven comes and gets past you on the soft tyre, but then you just start chipping away at him and still dealing with the pressure from Oscar behind as well. Was it just a very much plan of, if we've got the pace, we can just see what happens, or was it, did you think you were going to get through Reuven at the end of the race?
Yeah, since the fact that he did stop 2 laps later and there was 18 laps of C5, so and he would have to push all over, so I was counting on it and it happened, but it wasn't not perfect to win the race since Oscar appeared. So, but in the end, they did a really good job, and by the way, I took the podium even with a bit aggressive strategy on my one, and not gonna lie, but in the end it worked well, so it was a good perspective. And now I have to take a look at what I can go better for the next one, since Silverstone is a lot more tire wear. The tire wear is a lot more worse in Great Britain, so we have to take an understanding of what we can be better on it. In the end, it worked, but well, I had a different strategy on then, so I have to deal with by stopping before, trying the undercut, with worked in the first stint, but later on I paid the price. But in the end, I got okay with the P2, so I have to be happy with that.
Absolutely. Carlos, anything to ask Lucas?
Yeah, Lucas, congratulations for another podium in a row. Yeah, I wanted to ask you how is it to be in a league that you guys have car development and you have different upgrades? Are you enjoying this fact? Are you actively participating on the team decisions on the upgrade pathing of the car?
Yeah, we do in the mutual way. I like this part of developing the car, because we can have a lot more communication with the team, so it's a good way to help to make a good talks with the team and know what their opinions and how they want to plan, and if you have some opinions we can discuss. But in the end, we can stick in the good plans and see how it goes. So I like that one. I like it.
Is there any car that you think, oh, this car has this thing, and maybe I'm not saying specific names, but maybe have you found a car that you like more and then it helps you out to take a better path, or you're confident that the Fusion has the best package overall in the grid?
Well, since I heard the situation that the Fusion can bring some points, so I believe I got the good team, the good right time, I think. So all I just need to know is how they're gonna decide and how I can test to see some differences, to know how it's gonna work. But in the end, we do a great communication. The team is happy with me as well, so I'm happy that I'm getting in good perspectives to them. That in the beginning was nothing, but by the way, you don't expect nothing by a rookie, by the way. But when it goes quicker, so it has to be a good expected. So
I have to disagree because this year it's pretty much about the rookies, right? We have seen Soltero winning, we have seen you winning, we have seen Jose Soriano, who is a rookie as well, winning 2 races this year so far. So the only one who is like a bit of a more experienced driver winning races it's Ruven. So you shouldn't be shy for just being a rookie.
yeah, surely. But in the end, with the team, everything is going well. So with a good communication, a good development. So yeah, I'm liking the one. And now I have to. It was a good prepare for SL1 as well to have a good experience since I confirmed the emergency seat for SL1. So I'm a little bit prepared for it. And now I'm gonna have to think about it later on in 2 days.
Well, thank
Happy
you,
with that one.
Lucas.
Oh,
Yeah, and
Go on.
we will see you on Thursday. I will see you a bit closer on Thursday rather than in the commentating cabin. So take care.
I'll see you on the track.
thank you very much, Lucas Murno, for coming to speak to us. Another strong performance from the Brazilian. That is it then. That's all we've got time for here tonight. And another fantastic round of GPVWC Superlights done and dusted. Carlos Martin, what a race we've had this evening.
Yes, we had an amazing race. For once, I think it's the first time this season I have been right about the prediction. I think it was the first time. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll take that for me. Who did you say was your prediction to win today? You didn't say.
I said Machete.
You said Machete.
I think I think Machete because I think I said the optimal like guys having 2 cars up there, but I said I would have liked to see the Cinderella story as well with Oscar, and we did get that. So yeah, crazy race. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. As always, Thursday night, the Super League guys will be back out there. You get to see Carlos struggle around at the back of the midfield as he normally does in Super League. I'm joking, Carlos. But yeah, at the same time on Thursday.
It's the trend.
Well, hopefully you can improve. Yeah, Thursday night, Super League guys will be back out there for their first race after the break. In terms of us, though, here on Superlights, 2 weeks' time, we will be heading to Silverstone for the 8th round of the 2025 season. Cannot wait to see you there at the same time, same place. Till then.